I signed the divorce papers on Monday, and by Friday, my ex-husband's face was all over the news. He had donated his bone marrow to save my life. But why did he do it after all these years? I thought we were done, that he had moved on. The smell of hospital disinfectant filled my nostrils as I lay in the ICU, my mind racing with questions. What had he been hiding from me? And why did the doctor look so nervous every time I asked about my donor? Suddenly, the beeping of the machines and the murmurs of the nurses seemed to fade away, replaced by the sound of my own heartbeat. I had so many questions, but the only one that mattered was, why now? The doctor's voice brought me back to reality. You're lucky to have such a generous donor, Mrs. Rodriguez. Generous? My ex-husband? It didn't add up. I tried to remember the last time we spoke, the last time we saw each other. It had been years, and yet, here he was, saving my life. I felt a mix of emotions, gratitude, confusion, and a hint of fear. What did he want in return? The machines beeped louder, and the nurse rushed in. We need to check your vitals, Mrs. Rodriguez. I nodded, still trying to process the news. My ex-husband, the man I thought I knew, had saved my life. But at what cost? As I lay in the hospital bed, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. The doctor's words kept echoing in my mind, a generous donor. My ex-husband, Alexander, had always been a mysterious man, but this was beyond anything I could have imagined. I tried to remember our life together, the fights, the tears, the laughter. We had been married for 5 years before it all fell apart. He was a successful businessman, and I was a young doctor, trying to make a name for myself. We had our differences, but I never thought he would do something like this. The nurse came in with a tray of medication. Time for your meds, Mrs. Rodriguez. I nodded, still lost in thought. As she administered the medication, I asked her, "Can you tell me more about my donor?" She hesitated. "I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say, but I can ask the doctor to come and talk to you." I nodded, eager for any information. The nurse left, and I was left with my thoughts once again. Why had Alexander done this? And what did he want in return? The door opened, and the doctor walked in. "Mrs. Rodriguez, I see you're feeling better. You had a lot of questions earlier." I nodded. "Yes, I want to know about my donor." "Why did he do it?" The doctor sighed. "I'm not sure I'm at liberty to disclose that information." I felt a surge of frustration, but I need to know. "Please, doctor." He looked at me, his eyes filled with a mix of compassion and concern. "I'll see what I can do, okay?" I nodded, feeling a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, I would get some answers. The doctor left, and I was left to my thoughts once again. The machines beeped, the nurses murmured, and I lay there, waiting for some truth. Days passed, and I grew stronger. The doctor would visit me every day, and I would ask him about my donor. He would smile and tell me that he was doing well, but that was all. I felt like I was getting nowhere. One day, as I was walking down the hospital corridor, I saw a figure in the distance. It was Alexander. My heart skipped a beat as I quickened my pace. I didn't know what to say to him, or what he wanted. As I approached him, he turned around, and our eyes met. It had been years, but the spark was still there. He smiled, and I felt my heart melt. "Sophia," he said, his voice low and smooth. I nodded, still trying to process my emotions. "Why?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He looked at me, his eyes filled with a deep sadness. "I did it because I still care about you, Sophia. I know I wasn't the best husband, but I never stopped loving you." I felt a lump form in my throat as I looked at him. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to believe him, to trust him again. But another part of me was scared of getting hurt again. "I need to know why you did it now," I said, my voice firm. He nodded, "I know. And I'll tell you, but you have to promise me one thing." I raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" "You have to promise me you'll listen to everything I have to say, without interrupting." I nodded, curiosity getting the better of me. "I promise," I said. He took a deep breath, and began to tell me a story that would change everything I thought I knew about our marriage, about him, and about myself. Alexander's words poured out like a river, each one a revelation, each one a shock. He told me about his struggles, about his fears, about his doubts. He told me about the mistakes he had made, about the lies he had told. And he told me about the reason he had donated his bone marrow, to save me, to give me a second chance. I listened, entranced, as the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place. I realized that I had been just as guilty, just as flawed. I had been so caught up in my own anger, my own hurt, that I had forgotten the love we once shared. The love that had brought us together, the love that had made us whole. As Alexander finished his story, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I felt free to forgive, free to love again. I looked at him, and I saw the man I once knew, the man I once loved. "Thank you," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. He smiled, and I saw the spark in his eyes, the spark that had brought us together all those years ago. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "I'm sorry for everything." I nodded, feeling a sense of closure, a sense of new beginnings. "I'm sorry too," I said. "I'm sorry for not understanding, for not being there for you." We stood there, in the hospital corridor, holding hands, looking into each other's eyes. The machines beeped, the nurses murmured, but all I could hear was the sound of our hearts beating as one. As I look back on those days in the hospital, I realize that sometimes, it takes a second chance to appreciate the love we have. Alexander's donation had saved my life, but it had also saved our marriage. We had been given a rare gift, a chance to redo, to restart, to rediscover each other. And we had taken it, with both hands. We had learned to forgive, to let go of the past, and to cherish every moment we had together. The experience had taught me that love is not just a feeling, but a choice. A choice to stand by each other, through thick and thin, through life and death. And as I lay in Alexander's arms, I knew that I would never let him go again. The hospital had been a place of healing, not just for my body, but for my heart. And as we walked out of those doors, hand in hand, I knew that our love would last a lifetime. The smell of hospital disinfectant was still in my nostrils, but it was no longer a reminder of pain and suffering. It was a reminder of love, of redemption, of second chances.